Hello everyone. So today I have the pleasure of having Kamanasish. Kamanasish is an extraordinary person. Today has been a day where I have met people only dedicated to the cause of the nation. I just watched that fighter movie, an incredible Hrithik Roshan movie. Now I meet someone online who has been like an NIT Durgapur, IIM Ahmedabad alum, was having a career in London and then came back to India to join the civil services as an IPS officer. Now we want Kamnashish to actually take us through that journey of all that it takes to become an IPS officer and the daily rigmarole of an IPS's life. Welcome to the show, Kamnashish.
Thank you so much, Anurag sir. And I know you don't like me calling you sir, but I still call you sir because you happen to be my senior from IIM Ahmedabad. So that is how it goes. So thank you so much for having me, and thank you for all the kind words. I don't know whether I deserve them or not, but thanks nonetheless.
Yeah. So, please give us a brief intro about yourself. So, a son of a doctor, settled in Scindia School, Gwalior, then went to NIT Durgapur, IIM Ahmedabad. Please tell us very quickly about all of that.
Okay, sure. I'll start. So yeah, I'm basically I was born in Guwahati in Assam, and my father is a doctor, and he was a doctor in the railways. He retired as a chief medical director, and right from my childhood, in fact, there were not two great schools in Guwahati at that point in time, and as he was in the railways, you have the frequent transfers and all as it happens in the government job. So they wanted to, and I was in a joint family, so they wanted to put me to a boarding school. So at that point in time, there were one or two kids from Guwahati around my age who were studying in Scindia school. So that is how I had given my Scindia school entrance exam long back, decades back, and in class fourth, and that's how I was admitted to Scindia school in class fifth when I was 9.5 years old. So my entire schooling has been from the Scindia school Gwalior, and I'm a proud Scindian. That's my first identity. I did my 12th, my 10th and 12th from Scindia school, and after that, I was not much into. I was definitely. I would say an above average student. I used to perform well in studies and academics in school, but I was very much into extracurricular activities right from my school days. We used to have. I was very much into debating and quizzing. I was a school quiz captain. I used to play cricket, and then all of my most of my friends from school they joined Delhi University. I also wanted to join with them, but somehow it happens in the middle class background that in the middle class families that you need to at that point in time that we would be happy. My parents were like, we would be happy if you do engineering or So I gave in to the pressure, and I joined NIT Durgapur, not very far from here, from where I'm posted right now. So I joined there, and I was into I was in metallurgy and materials engineering, and again, right after my first year, as it happens with most engineers, I think I realized that I would not pursue my stream going ahead. I was very sure on that I don't want to do a master's in engineering in my field, or I mean, forget about PhD. So as it happens that there's always a pressure in the back of the mind that obviously you have to do a PG, a post graduation. So I joined. I had a campus placement in Capgemini. So there I worked in Pune as associate consultant for 1.5 years, and then CAT I gave CAT, and somehow probably I was lucky enough to get into probably one of the best B schools of the country. In fact, I would say of the world. And IIM Ahmedabad happened, and it was actually a dream come true, because I think, and you would also probably agree, that the peer group which I had in IIM Ahmedabad has been amazing, amazing. Uh, I don't know. I mean, they're doing wonders. You have, I mean, one of my friend. He's the owner. He's the CEO and founder of Urban Company, and I mean, they're doing fantastically well across the world. So, but then I also joined the corporate. But to be very honest, at that point in time, in 2012, 13, CSAT was introduced. I mean, there was a whole change in the UPSC syllabus, and the CSAT was introduced. So initially there used to be, in the prelims exam, there used to be one general studies paper and one optional paper. But during that time when we passed out of IIM Ahmedabad, CSAT was introduced. So there was a lot of hype and hoopla that, what is the CSAT and, what it is going to be. So, when the first time when I saw the CSAT paper, it was like anyone who has given CAT, probably it would be a cake for him or her. And to be very honest, I was working in the Hinduja group, and I just gave it a shot. I'm being very, very honest. I just gave it a shot. I thought if I get through civil services, well and fine. If I don't get through, even then I'm happy, because I was doing pretty okay. But my friends daily, I don't know what they saw in me. They said, "No, yeah, you have to give." And I gave the exam, and the prelims. After giving the prelims, you have those cutoffs coming. You have the answer keys and everything, and I was like sailing through the prelims. The mains also went on pretty well, and then it was the interview, and it's more like a personality test. And to be very honest, I do have a habit of of doing very bad in interviews. In my batch, just to recall, 10 years, 12 years, down the line, during our summer placements, I think we used to have day 0, day 0.5, day 1. So day 0.5, day 1, I had 12 shortlist, and at the end of the day, I did not convert a single shortlist. So I have a habit of doing bad in interviews. But somehow, I don't know, probably destiny, it was written. And my UPSC personality test, it went on. I think that was one of the best interviews of my life. So that's how it happened. And as I joined the Indian Police Service, and to be very honest, I had no clue whatsoever, regarding the Indian Police Service. Because I always wanted, my first choice was IAS. So I'd seen a couple of IAS officers over the period in time. Even in IIM Ahmedabad, when we were doing some coursework, we had come across some IAS officers, and so I knew that, but in police service, and 99% of the people, I would say 90%. I'm probably the figures I'm quoting is high. 90% of the people, they don't visit the police station in their lifetime. So actually, you don't know, and
Yes,
you want
absolutely.
to stay away from the police, and you want to stay away from the doctor. So I already had a doctor in my family, my father. So the second I became the second police. So when I was entering into the National Police Academy, where we had our training, I was in complete awe that where am I entering? And I've never used I've never used a rifle, a gun, anything in my life. But over the period in time, we got used to. Got used to it, and the physical activities, the physical training of the police, and I got used to it. And the training was such that uh, even now I make it a point that in the morning, somewhere in the span of the day, I try to work out for 35-40 minutes, whatever I do. So that feeling of staying fit has ingrained in my life during that training. Now my first posting was after we passed out, and from the academy, from the training academy, National Police Academy, you have the concept of cadre in all India services, that is IAS, IPS, and Indian Forest Service. You have the concept of cadre, where you are being allotted a particular cadre, that is a state. So I was allotted West Bengal cadre. So it feels like home. It's like it's a home cadre, being a big Bengali boy myself. So I'm more at home. So my first posting was SDPO Serampore. Serampore is a subdivisional town in Hooghly.
Yeah,
Now it's a part of Chandanagar Commissionerate. So I was SDPO Serampore. So I would say I'm still rated as my best posting till date. Because to be very honest, people ask me. In fact, you also asked me that. Why you could have done a lot of things, being an IAS, and being from IIM Ahmedabad background. But
yeah,
why police?
absolutely.
People can't relate being an IIM Ahmedabad graduate to being an IPS. But trust me, sir, I saw it my hand. To be very honest, a person who comes to the police, a person who comes to the SDPO or say SP, as I'm currently in Hoogly, he's in need. He or she is in need. He is in distress. That's why he has come to your office. That's why he has come to your chamber to meet you. So I could see the instant justice. I don't know, justice would be, it's a too broad term, but instant help, I would say instant relief, which can be provided to the person is in the form of IPS officer, is in the form of an SDP or SP, which I have been. So that is the kind of satisfaction which I got and which I still get. You'd ask me that, if someone wants to meet, you'd probably, if you want to meet someone in the bureaucracy, you'd probably, try to get some connections and then, get an appointment and everything. Trust me, one thing from corporate, which I liked, which I picked up and which I still follow to this day is that my chamber is open for anyone, be it from any economic background, rich, poor, anyone who comes to meet the SP. Right now, I'm SP of Hoogly Rural. He or she has a right to meet me. Yeah, obviously, if I'm in a meeting, if something is going on, or if I'm outside, if I'm in the field for some work, I might not be available. But if I'm available, it's my duty to meet that particular visitor who has come to me with his or her problem. With reference, without reference, doesn't matter. And if I'm not doing that, I'm not doing my job. I mean, that is what I'm supposed to do as being an SP, to listen to people who are coming to me to solve their problems. Even if I'm not able to solve their problems completely, there are so many complex problems which I can go on and on, for which, at that, sometimes, I want to help them, but it's very difficult. For example, someone is coming to me for some matrimonial dispute where I do not have that, that doesn't fall in under
It's not
my
your locus
uh,
standing, it's a judicial
yeah.
thing.
But there are umpteen number of times where people come to me and I could feel that I've been able to help them out in whatsoever way I can. And
So
there is
please give some
also
examples.
I'll okay. Okay. I won't name the person then. Let me tell you an example.
Sure.
Okay. This person, just after my joining, it's been 3 months I have joined the district. So there's this person from Arambagh. Arambagh happens to be it's a subdivisional town in Hooghly.
Arambagh
He's
chicken,
a doctor.
that place, no?
Yeah,
Arambagh
Arambagh.
chicken.
So Arambagh. So he's a doctor. I won't name him. So he had come to me and he had lost around 25 to 30 lakh rupees in a fraud which was committed. He had done a case. He had done a case in probably a cheating section 420 is a section, but a case was just done and no progress was made, and he was quite harassed, and he was complaining that if someone looks into it, some help could be done. So this was a month back, and yesterday, in fact, he called me up. I still, after this after this session, I can share the recording also. Because he usually records and sends it. Sir, this happened. Sir, thank you so much. So yesterday, he said that, sir, thank you so much. After the persistent effort, after you kept pushing for so many days, the accused has been arrested from Muzaffarpur, Bihar, and finally, I see
Wow.
a light at the end of the tunnel. So this is one example which is coming to my mind. Then this is in Hoogly, and a couple of other things. In fact, when you had visited Burdwan, I wanted to show you the Burdwan police lines. So there we had done a couple of things. For example, even if you visit Burdwan right now, just on the GT road, there is one. There's a shop. I would call it an emporium, which is called as Mati Tan. Okay,
Okay.
so what happened is that I'll just give you the background. In fact, what has happened is that during the COVID, there were families who are involved in this dokra craft. Dokra is basically wax metal, which is like traditional craft of Bardhaman, Bakura. So these artisans, they were finding it difficult in the COVID to feed themselves. I mean, they couldn't afford a square meal a day because of whatever the circumstances were. So police were helping these families. So there were 23 families. So after COVID, after things normalized, I called them once in my office and said that I wanted to understand the business. After passing out from IIM Ahmedabad, you always try to think what is the revenue stream. What's the revenue stream? What's the
Yes,
model
you'll take the
which they
business
offer?
plan. Yes.
So I try to understand, and there I understood that a lot of actually they don't make much money. They make money, but most of the middlemen, they actually taking their products to the market, they take a huge share out of it. So I told them that what if I open a, I open a center, I open a, an emporium where your craft, your like whatever you make, it is displayed and it's been sold from there, and whatever is the price which you quote, like 100 rupees, we'll just have 2% establishment charges and we'll sell it. So this said, sir, we're perfectly okay with it. So with the help of an NGO, and they helped in the setting up the because the setting up the stream and all. So we have opened an emporium. It's still running. If you go there, do visit. And it's, I think that is one thing which we did in Burdwan, which I am happy of. Second is that second, another which I'm very happy and which I always remember with a lot of fondness is Burdwan. Actually, the police lines. The police lines is the place where the force it stays, and you have the parade ground and everything. So Burdwan is a very old. It's a very old district, So there was a place where in the police line. It was around. I could say around 6.5 bighas of land, where the entire dumping of the police line used to happen, and every time I used to go there, I used to find it so bad, I want to do something about it. So as you know, I'm also on LinkedIn. So somewhere, I got in touch with a person. I just had some conversation with him. He's called as the pond man because he has resurrected number of water bodies across India. So I just had a casual talk with him, and I asked him that, there's this, can I do it? He said, sir, why don't you try it? He gave me some ideas, and then we did the soil testing. We got the soil tested. Then in the bottom of the pond, you have all those, what should I say, basically swampy swamps where the small fishes feed on them and they live. And again, if you get a chance to visit the Burdwan police lines, please do visit it. It's now a lake. It's a flourishing lake where there are 2 boats.
Wow.
There are a lot of fishes,
Amazing.
and we have given that lake as a lease to some to the highest bidder, so that it's also a revenue generation for us. The lake is maintained, and it's a lovely place. It's a lovely water body in the Burdwan police lines. I'm just giving you some of the examples which I can remember. So another thing, again, I hope I'm not boring you, sir. So another thing which we have done is that when I went to Burdwan, being such an old town, I found not a single tennis court out there. Okay, I wanted to play tennis because, but I didn't find a single tennis ground out there. So what we did is we have a Burdwan police line school. So in that school, we created a synthetic tennis court. That court has been opened for kids in Burdwan town area. And like 3 months back, there were 162 kids learning tennis in the Burdwan tennis. It's called as police club, and they're learning tennis, and it's just 300 rupees per month. So whatever money we get from that, we give to the coaches and the balls. For the balls, in fact, tennis balls. So that is one thing, again, apart from policing, which I remember fondly, so these are some of the things. And all the credit, I should say, whenever I think of college, whenever I think of my institute, I always, I always keep thinking, what difference can you give into the system, what bring into the system, being an because there's a lot of pressure anywhere you go. This IIM Ahmedabad ka hai, IIM Ahmedabad ka hai. IIM Ahmedabad tag is, I don't know, sometimes it's like a more of a sometimes it's more of a
Burdened by
baggage,
the
I would say.
expectations.
Yeah,
You get burdened.
that exactly. So I'm always in a lookout that you have to do something, think out of the box or something like that. So that is, and regarding, I'm still in touch with my, I didn't have a special. My grades were pretty average, but what I did in IIM Ahmedabad and even in my NIT Durgapur is that I made crazy bunch of friends with whom, they might be in any corner in the world, but whenever they come to India or whenever they come to Kolkata for any meeting or something, they try to schedule their meeting on Fridays. So I get them picked up and they stay with me, and for the weekend and all, and then they go back. So that is how I do the catching up. But as a police officer, as an SP, I don't have the luxury of holidays, and I don't get leaves. That is one thing which which is actually which is something which I look forward to, So
I know
that is how
because
my journey.
our alumni events, I think there have been 2, 3 instances where you
Yeah,
wanted to come at the last moment. There was some law and order thing,
correct,
some minister calling.
correct, correct. And so that, but this time I plan to attend the one on February 2nd. I have that bookmark. I'll definitely come. So
So
that
the
is how it
daily
has
life
been.
of IPS is stressful.
Yeah, I mean, definitely it is stressful because you are in charge of the entire district. I mean, you are the anything which happens, good, bad, you are responsible. I would say the bad, you are responsible, and actually, it's a responsibility which actually helps you to, it molds you. So anything which has happened, you should. In fact, I take the responsibility of anything which is not correct. So it is quite stressful at times, and especially the events, the law and order, because Bengal, say in Bengal, you have the Durga Puja, you have a lot of festivals coming up, and all these are like, there are huge logistical arrangements, and there's number of things which can go wrong, which are sometimes out of your hand, out of your control. So you have to be very, very careful. So, all these festivals and all, they actually, whenever the festival comes, people, it's a source of enjoyment, entertainment for the public, but then we have a lot of stress, that how we're
And
going to
for
manage it, what
IPS,
sort of, yeah, for us it's very, very it is, but at the time you're in the districts, or you are the heading the commissionerate, it is very stressful, because you are the one who is responsible for, the law and order, and the security and everything of the people and anyone there.
Amnashish, I have a question. Like you are in the civil services handling the IPS part. There is an IAS cadre also operating that same district. And there is a politician who wants to score brownie points through everything. How do you marry all of the multiple objectives and move forward? Is that also something where the IIM Ahmedabad conflict management classes come into picture in a way?
Okay. There was a uh, there was a session. There was, in fact, there was a course, and I particularly remember a session where, it was taken by Asha Kaul madam in IIM Ahmedabad. So there, it was such that it was the entire classes were divided into two groups. So I remember it was negotiation. It was a negotiation strategy class. So it was like, we were given it. We read the case. I mean, everything in Ahmedabad is about cases. So we read the case, and it was like, we wanted the pineapple, we wanted the watermelon, but the other party which was negotiating with us, they wanted the seeds of the watermelon. So it was a win-win for both, but both the parties were not realizing what they actually want. But at the end of the class discussion, we realized that we both
Oh,
want two
fantastic.
separate of
Wow.
the whole.
Yes, yes, yes.
So I always remember that. I always remember that whenever such tricky situations come. So it is very important that you understand the other parties, whosoever it be, understand the other parties' points, and you put your points forward. Because there is a lot of times in governance that miscommunication happens. So and trust me, the sole purpose is governance. The whole sole purpose is providing service to the people. That is very important, and no one can deny that. I mean, from the IS point of view, also, say the DM who is the head, say the politician or minister's point of view, also say my point of view also. So if I'm able to put that point across and convince others that this is my point of view, you say what is the point of view, I mean, other stakeholders, what are your point of views, and but our common objective is to provide service to the people, which should not be affected in any manner. And there have been times where we have been we have been able to solve the problem. I mean, because end of the day, what I believe is that even in the police, we have a huge fraternity in police in my district itself. Forget the state. Uh, Personally, I might not like someone might not like me personally, but professionally, we are supposed to, and we are about to, we should work together as a team. So even in all my workings, everything, I keep my professional and personal entities separately. I might not professionally like someone, but he's a great friend of mine, and I always believe that we agree to disagree. So that's how I do have, I mean, probably till now, touch wood, I have never had any confronting situation with any of the stakeholders
I
per se.
loved this
Yes,
watermelon and watermelon seeds analogy.
yeah,
Super.
yeah, it was. I remember it was Asha Paul Madam's class, and it was a case, and we were divided, and we were shouting. I mean, both the groups were divided into two groups. We were shouting on the top of the boys that we want to this, we want to pay, we will pay this amount of money, this, that. At the end of the class, when we got to know that this is the other party who required the seeds, and I am the one who required the the pulp of the watermelon, then we decided, why were we fighting about? You wanted something else, I wanted something else. So what was the whole point? Debating and fighting.
So
But
from a
so I
governance
remember that.
perspective, the good of the people is what everyone wants. Maybe through their own different
Correct.
lenses they see the world,
Exactly.
but oh,
Exactly. So
fantastic.
yeah, I'm Ahmedabad, and to be very very honest, yeah, you were saying about the stress. Stress is one thing. The second is time given to the family, and it's I hardly get any time with my family. My wife is also working. She's also in the service. She's into IRS, and we have a son. So my son is just growing up. And
So
I
she
don't
keeps
I don't
moving with
realize that.
you, or
Thankfully, till now, in fact, the postings have been, I mean, the postings have been such that apart from few days, few months here and there, we have been able to stay together at least. She travels 1.5 hours, but I think that's fine. Till the end of the day, we get to see each
son?
other,
Where does
and
and how
share.
does the schooling of the son change? Because every
Yeah, I mean,
years.
till now, he has already changed. He's in class two, so he's 6.5 year old, so turning 7. So we have changed his school 4 times. So probably, going ahead, probably, we'll think about it. But right now, he's fine. He knows. I think he's matured. He's a 6.5, but he knows his father is so busy and everything. So but he's the one, I think, probably who's more sensible than I am. So that's how it goes. So I'm thankful to them that we are managing, and my wife keeps on and I tell you, sir, this media publishing of the this IIM Ahmedabad or any of the IIM salary thing should stop. I mean, she thinks any layman thinks that anyone who passes out from IIM is a crorepati, and
Ah,
any job other than a consultant job or an iBanker's job is a faltu. You know, so she thinks that I've been the most faltu student at IIM Ahmedabad who couldn't manage an iBanking job or a consult or a McKinsey job. So, but that is how it is, and I would love to take my wife sometime to the campus. I still remember very fondly Rambai and others. So that is how it is.
contrary, Kamnashish, I have to say, because through this podcast and following people, IIM Ahmedabad alums are not just investment bankers or McKinsey consultants. They've become yoga instructors. They've authored books full time. They teach people on how to manage their stress. I mean, it's a very different ball game from that perspective. One question, Kamnashish, which I have is that these coaching centers, they've created a larger than life image around IAS and IPS. A lot of these IPS, IAS people themselves post these reels and all just to create that glamour. It plays a very heavy role on the mind of that youngster who may not be able to crack the exams. What are your take on that?
Anurag sir, to be very honest, I think I still believe that social media, but we bureaucrats, we are supposed to work uh, uh, more in the background. To be very honest, our work should. I mean, I am there as the SP, so my work will reflect me. To be very honest, rather than doing reels, and I mean that again, this is my personal perspective. I mean, I might be wrong because probably someone says that jo dikhta hai wo bikta hai. I don't know, but to be very honest, I think even the 12th fail movie also released. If you ask me, it's fine. IAS, IPS. other IRS services are good. There are ample of opportunities where you can do good work. But there are also other avenues where you can actually do good work and make a name for yourself or to contribute something to the society. I mean, someone attempting 3 attempts, 4 attempts, and then getting into service, and then if someone is not able to crack the exam, getting into depression. I think this is something which we really need to tackle. I don't know, as a society as a whole. So getting through IAS IPS is fine enough, but even if someone doesn't get through it, it's not the end of the world. Trust me, I don't want my son, to be very very honest, I don't know whatever he wants to become. I don't want my son to give UPSC and then keep try for IAS IPS. It's up to him. Whatever he wants to decide, whatever he wants to take it up, it's fine with him. So I think, and coaching centers, but I mean, coaching centers again, but they're there to generate revenue. So they again, they'll try to say that I don't understand one person getting through 4 or 5 coaching centers, putting up his or her name across, and there needs to be some check and balances. I don't know how some audit, something needs to be done, to do some
There's a 1 lakh
fact checks on
rupee they
this.
will give you just to associate the name once you are a topper. So
I
that's
think
it.
even there should be something which which should probably which should be there, which stops the civil servant. Once you're in the service, there should be, we do have service rules. We do have service. For example, if I take any class, I for example, if I take any class, I'm not supposed to charge anything. I'm not supposed to do it for a
Monetary objective.
yeah, I can be given an honorarium for college. I can go and teach in a, take some class in a college. That's perfectly okay according to a service contract rules. But I'm not supposed to get any monetary benefits out of it. All these,
Absolutely.
yeah, are already codified there. But adherence to these, I think, is very important. Which and the onus is on us, to be very honest.
Any regrets about missing corporate life? Quick
Yeah, I
questions.
mean, yeah, again, yeah, holidays. I mean, all my batchmates, all my friends, they go to Australia, New Zealand. I don't know which all places on the earth, and they keep sending me WhatsApp, and they keep putting their Instagram reels, and not me. It doesn't affect me, but my wife. She always says, "See your friend, they are holidaying, and you don't even get out of Bengal." So yeah, that is one regret. Holidays, and they keep switching jobs. If they don't like this particular company, they'll go to shift to other company. Many of them have become investors also. So that is one thing, probably, I don't know, not regret per se, but it's fine. I mean, I've
One
chosen
has
this
to.
life.
So you win some, you lose some. That's how life is probably.
Correct,
So
correct. Yeah,
any
and one more
final?
thing.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, and yeah, one more thing. Yeah, not regret per se, but then the freedom to. There's so many. Once you become a civil servant, once you become, say, you are an SP of the district, it is very difficult for you to your life does not remain private anymore. To be very honest, like where the SP goes, even if you have to go to a restaurant, you try to think that what is the time where I go where I don't find people. You understand what I'm saying? This. So this sort of thing which goes, so it's very difficult to become incognito, I would say. That is one thing which I miss, so that is, so we are always in the public eye, that
Yes.
and you are always conscious that what if he sees me doing something, he might say that look at the SP. So you're always conscious of your actions outside the home.
Final two, 3 lines of advice for youngsters watching this show.
uh, Advice, I don't think so I'm that gnani enough to give advice, but I can just give some suggestions that please, whatever you do in life, there are ample of opportunities to prove yourself. Any field which you take, just try to you know uh, give in your best. And there's no substitute for hard work, number one. And there's number two is that there's ain't anything such as free lunch in life. So nothing in life comes from free. You have to really slog for it at any point in time. Somewhere, I mean, anywhere who has reached any position in his or her life has definitely slogged at some point in life. That's why that person is there. So
My
these are two.
final question. My
Yeah.
final question, if you can just very quickly, we can wrap this. In one of your previous interviews, you mentioned that everyone must have a Jitu Bhaiya in their lives, whom the mentor whom they can go. So who is your Jitu Bhaiya?
I would not name him, in fact, but there is
You have a
someone
Jitu
there.
Bhaiya?
Yeah, I do have a Jitu Bhaiya in my service life also. I would not like to name him, but
Ah,
I do have,
fine.
because I do have, because at point in time there are so many inner conflicts, where you need to talk to someone who understands your problem, who has been there, done that type. So you do have someone whom you can talk to get some clarity of thought. So I do have someone where I keep troubling him at times, not always, but no, that
But
ho
isn't
raha hai, and
having a
I
Jitu Bhaiya very important? That is also one point,
it's
right?
very important. It's very important. It's very important to have someone who doesn't judge you, who knows you completely, that this is a person who I should listen to, and I can, someone. I mean, some there are some juniors of mine who also call me, So I do make it a point to listen to them and give them some suggestions that try to do this, don't do this. So it does help. It does help, especially in our service. In our service life.
Because one of the motto also for me to do this podcast, etc., is that people in their youth should get mentorship. Because otherwise, you tend to follow the not so optimal path, and beyond a point, those decisions become irreversible. So that's why I broached upon this topic as well, that all of us must have some sort of a mentor, some sounding board whom we can go and check our ideas on. Thank you so much.
Bilkul, bilkul. And Anurag sir, please do have a let's have a you know meet of IIM Ahmedabad people in Kolkata. Please,
Yeah, yeah, next
I
Saturday.
would love. Yeah, perfect, perfect. Thank you so much, Anurag sir.
All right. Thank you,
Thanks.
Kamnashish. Bye bye.